Hey, I want to talk to you today about what it feels like to be the person in the room who is there ch- being the champion or the one who big ups all the people in the room. And yet, when it's time for you to need that type of encouragement, you can sometimes feel alone. Well, I want you to know that one thing about me is that I am always a person who is going to give people the benefit of the doubt. That's the way I'm bent. That's the way I live my life, and I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt, and at the same time it can still help or contribute to my feeling alone and by myself as I build out this new community for my people. Um, and so I was sitting here thinking that it was time for me to record my YouTube channel. And I am recording these videos because I want people to know who I am. And I want you to understand and believe in what I'm saying to you. So I have my notes. I'm doing better about just reading from my script that I have designed. But the title of this video is that your career is not a group project. So let's talk about that a little bit. I am a person, I was born into a family of three brothers. So, as the only girl in my family, I'm kind of used to being a lone ranger. And then over the course of my career, I was, in addition to being, the only black person, oftentimes at the levels that I was at in my school. The school I worked at for the longest period of time, consistently for 16 years, I was often one or two of the black people. And I've been having conversations lately where people are kind of trying to make me believe that that shouldn't have been a thing, meaning that it shouldn't have impacted the way I did my job. And again, that's why I created our own lane, because I know I lived this for 25 years and I kept trying to wrestle with what am I missing? I'm missing a community of people who look like me and who speak my language. I worked in day schools. My first When I first started, I was working in a boarding school. And that's a culture, and it we used to have international students who attended our school. And so I got really familiar with that. What I wanted to offer compassion to those students who were so far away from home. And I started to feel like my career was a metaphor, like I was an international student. That feeling of being so far away from, like, people who look like me, who came from my culture. I compared it to, man, if I were a student who came from Taiwan and they came to America to study, as beautiful as the country is, and we were in a, my school was in Princeton, New Jersey. So it's down the street from the Princeton University, and all that's fine, well, and good. But when you are far away from people who speak your native tongue, and you're far away from people who cook your type of food, it can still be a challenge and a hurdle for you to come in every day, be your best self. If, as the employee coming in, and a person who works in schools, our primary foundation comes from uh, putting students first. what does that mean if you don't feel like you belong? It can be a challenge to put other people ahead. I'm also a mother. I have biological children who I raised, and trying to put their needs first. So a lot of needs came before LaRonda's actually got addressed, right? So I thought, as I was creating our own lane and thinking about this week's topic, I was thinking about support. Where does the support come from? And I've talked to a lot of Black professionals, and I'm speaking specifically about Black professionals because that's my niche, right? I'm not saying no one else, no other identity has these issues. I'm speaking specifically because I am on a personal mission to combat some of the anti-Blackness that is happening in this world. And the way that I am going to do that is to have a community that I've built specifically for Black professionals. We are centered, we are here, we will come in and we'll talk about things that impact us, right? So I want to talk about a pattern that I've known, that I've experienced over the course of my career. I am a networker. I love to meet people, and when I meet you, I think about, how can I help you? Is there something that I can do to help make your life better? Right? Whether it's us being good friends, and sometimes it might be me leaving you alone because you can't stand me. I know that I'm saying that because truthfully, everybody is not for you. Everybody is not everybody's cup of tea. I know that about myself. It took me years to get beyond that and be like, man, that person just cannot abide by me. And that is okay, because I hear that there are 33 million people here in the United States alone. So I should be able to find a few people who don't mind being in my company and in my presence. So the other lesson that I had to learn around that particular thought and feeling has to do with not waiting for other people's validation of my ideas. So I worked for 25 years working in private schools. I know what I know, right? I don't know it all, but I know some stuff. And if I continue, and that's what I was doing, continuing to try to build up my knowledge, thinking, sometimes you think you have to know everything. You do not. I am on a journey right now to learn more about technology and AI. I'm not trying to learn it all. I used to teach computer classes, and I used to say to my students when they would ask me a question, and Miss Grace, can you ask me a question? And I'm like, you're sitting in front of a computer, and I am completely thrilled that you think I know more than the internet. I do not. I don't. Google it. Right? And technology changes all the time, and there's always a time and more for us to learn. Right? So I'm going to talk about, let's use that energy, the energy that it takes to worry about, if this person is thinking about me, why haven't they called me back? Why aren't they reaching out to support me in my dreams? I've got my own dreams, and if I don't champion myself, if I don't do this thing for myself, I got to wake up every day, put one foot in front of the other, try new things. I've got to put in the work. I've got to make sure that people get to know this face as a face that is in support of Black professionals who work in private schools, because that's the community that I am building, and that's what I'm most passionate about supporting. So, another concept that came to mind when I thought about, the people who I thought would support me and they don't support me over the years in my career, I thought, it's not about me. It's more about them. Not even that they dislike me per se, but what if what I'm doing holds up a mirror for them that shows them or reflects back to them what they're not doing? That's just another concept. That's another possibility of why you've not heard from the person, right? Don't take it personally. So, now let's talk about ways that we can go forward and grow in spite of, in addition to, while carrying that feeling of disappointment. Because humans will disappoint you. You disappoint yourself sometimes. And personally, I'm not that. I try my very best to honor the word that the promises that I make to myself. That's what this YouTube channel has been about. In January, I said I was going to record 52 weeks out of the year. I was doing it every Tuesday. Some days my Tuesday gets busy. Today is actually Wednesday. I don't care. I think my video for last week, I recorded it on Saturday because it was still in that same week. And I had a message and I recorded it and I posted it and I'm here. And so that's my challenge to you as well. Let's go from auditioning your ideas and your thoughts and running it by people. When you're in an audition, you're thinking, man, will they pick me? Just build your thing, bro. Just do your thing. Let's do the thing. And you're looking at people on social media. I'm fascinated with it. And I see people with microphones and I'm like, do I need to run out and buy a microphone? What you need to do, is record this video and post it and let people know what you're building and get more members into your school community. And that's what I'm doing. That's why I'm sitting here. So I built this table. Everybody's looking for a seat at the table. I built this table. I built my table from here, from my ideas. My thumbnail, maybe I used AI to create my thumbnail, but AI cannot take my ideas from me. You see what I'm saying? Like, I am here to offer a service that has a price, that has 2 levels. We have the on-ramp. Folks know about the on-ramp. I've talked about that now since April. Now it's time for me to talk about my paid options. Okay, so the Accelerator lane, where I'm accepting 24 members. Okay, those 24 members will work as a cohort. And if you are coming in from the same school, from the same SCHOOL school, I will do my best. I will not put you in the same cohort, sub-cohort, if you will, with folks who are at your school. Because, nobody wants to be in the faculty room talking about stuff on Friday and have it come up at the full faculty meeting on Monday, right? You deserve some level of confidentiality and privacy, because the things that we are going to wrestle with over the course of the next year, the 2026-2027 school year, will be things that will help you grow in your career, will help you feel less alone. You do not have to walk through this alone. I did it. I didn't like being by myself. I just didn't. I really would have preferred to have been in a community with people. And I always say the idea came out of my experience of working in schools and attending the People of Color Conference once a year, getting to go to that conference and being like, wow. And I think also I grew up in Detroit. So I grew up in a predominantly black space. And then when I went to middle school, I moved to Lawton, Oklahoma, which was not so black. Not so black at all. But I had such my solid foundation about the power and the beauty of being a black person, right? I've seen the not everyone was a doctor, lawyer in my community, but there were some, right? There were black teachers. And to hear when I got my first job at that school, and throughout my 25-year career, there are still students who have never seen a black professional working at their school. Or never had a black teacher, right? If you see, you got a coach, a black coach, right? Maybe you've got a black person that works in admissions. I have had the experience of students being disrespectful and not listening to me because they had never seen a black person of authority in their lives. That's my experience. And it's not cool. And being in the our own lane community, you will be able to unpack that, and let's figure out ways for you to be able to go back to school the next day, the next time, and figure out a strategy for you to be able to not just survive, but to thrive in your community, in your job, right? So, as I said, 2 paid tiers. 24 members will be, you can choose the Accelerator lane, which is $1,297 for the year, or the Pacesetter lane, which is $3,997. That $3,997 gives you one-on-one access. You're not in that group cohort, but in the Pacesetter lane is for those who are at probably senior admin level for sure, who also feel alone. I don't say it's left alone. You might be sitting at the table at the senior admin team every week and trying to figure out what language they're speaking. I want to be your mentor through that process. So I'm going to put the link in the description of this video. I hope to see you. And I just want to let you know that you're done waiting for support. And if you're ready to join a community where you are the standard, not the exception, click the link to join. And I look forward to seeing you in our school SKOOL community. Bye.